The encounter of the vastness of space stretched endlessly beyond the viewport of the patrol ship Resilience. Captain Alina Vasquez adjusted her position in the command chair, watching the stars drift past as they completed their routine patrol of the Outer Rim territories. These missions were usually quiet, almost boring, but Alina knew better than to let her guard down in the frontier regions where anything could happen. "Captain, we're approaching the Kepler 442 system," reported Lieutenant Jake Morrison from the co-pilot station. His fingers danced across the navigation console with practiced ease. "All systems showing green. Should be a standard sweep and return." Alina nodded, her dark eyes scanning the tactical display. At 35, she had been commanding frontier patrols for 8 years, long enough to develop an instinct for trouble. Something felt different about this mission, though she couldn't quite place what it was. "Keep the sensors on wide sweep, Jake. This sector has been quiet for too long." She stood and walked to the observation deck, gazing out at the swirling colors of the nearby nebula. The Kepler system was known for its beautiful but treacherous stellar phenomena, which made it perfect for hiding things that didn't want to be found. Meanwhile, in the depths of space several thousand kilometers away, another ship moved silently through the void. The vessel was sleek and angular, its hull a deep purple that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Inside the cockpit, Zixthera adjusted the targeting sensors with one of her 4 arms while monitoring the energy signatures ahead. The Vorthan scout ship Shadowblade was on a reconnaissance mission for the Vorthan Empire, gathering intelligence on the expanding human territories. Zixthera had been chosen for this mission because of her exceptional piloting skills and her ability to remain undetected in enemy space. Her species, the Vorthans, were naturally suited for stealth operations with their enhanced reflexes and ability to see across multiple light spectrums. Target acquired, she whispered to herself in the clicking language of her people. The human patrol ship had appeared on her sensors, exactly where their intelligence had predicted it would be. These humans were predictable in their patrol patterns, making them easy to track and monitor. Back on the Resilience, Jake's console suddenly erupted with warning signals. "Captain, I'm picking up an unknown energy signature. It's not in our database." Alina was beside him in an instant, her training taking over. "Can you identify the source?" "Working on it." Jake's hands flew across the controls, trying to isolate the signal. "It's moving fast, definitely artificial." "Captain, I think we've got company." The tactical display showed a contact approaching from the asteroid field near the system's edge. Alina felt her pulse quicken. First contact with an unknown species was every patrol captain's nightmare and dream rolled into one. "Red alert. All hands to battle stations," she ordered, her voice carrying throughout the ship. "Jake, can you get a visual?" The main screen flickered to life, showing the approaching vessel. Both humans stared in amazement at the alien design. The ship was unlike anything in their databases, sleek and predatory. "My God," Jake breathed. "It's beautiful." Alina was more practical. "It's also armed. Look at those weapon ports." Aboard the Shadowblade, Zixthera watched the human ship's energy patterns shift to combat readiness. Her orders were clear: observe and report, avoid engagement at all costs. But something about the human vessel's aggressive posture triggered her warrior instincts. Her people had been at war for generations, and defensive positioning was often the prelude to attack. She opened a communication channel, broadcasting on multiple frequencies. "Unknown vessel, you are trespassing in Vorthan space. Withdraw immediately, or face the consequences." On the Resilience, the translation systems struggled with the alien language before producing a rough approximation. Elena's face hardened as she heard the ultimatum. "Vorthen space," she said to Jake. "This sector was mapped by human surveys 50 years ago. There's no record of any Vorthon claim." Jake checked the star charts. "Captain, according to our records, this is definitely human territory. They're the ones trespassing." Elena made a decision that would change everything. "Open a channel." "Channel open, Captain. This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the Terran Federation. Ship Resilience. You are in violation of human space. Identify yourself and state your intentions." Zixthara's translator rendered the human words into her native tongue, but the meaning was clear. The humans were claiming territory that the Vorthon Empire had been monitoring for months. This was exactly the kind of territorial dispute that had led to conflicts with other species in the past. "Human Captain, you are mistaken. This system falls under Vorthon protection. Your presence here is an act of aggression." Elena felt the situation spiraling out of control. Neither ship was backing down, and tensions were rising rapidly. "We have legal salvage and exploration rights in this sector. We're not looking for trouble, but we won't abandon our legitimate claims. Legal according to whose authority?" Zix's voice crackled through the comm system. "Your species expands into territory without regard for existing claims. This cannot be tolerated." The communication went silent for a moment. Both captains were thinking, weighing their options. Elena had no desire to start an interstellar war, but she also couldn't back down from defending human territory. Zig faced a similar dilemma. Her mission was reconnaissance, not combat, but she couldn't allow the humans to think the Vorthon Empire was weak. "Jake, what's the status of our weapons systems?" Elena asked quietly. "All systems operational, Captain. But I'm reading some impressive energy outputs from that alien ship. I don't think we want to test their firepower." Elena nodded. "Send a message to Fleet Command. Priority 1. We need backup and diplomatic support. Already on it, Captain. But it'll be hours before anyone can reach us." The two ships continued their tense standoff, circling each other like predators testing for weakness. Elena tried one more diplomatic approach. "Look, we're both professional military officers. Neither of us wants to start a war over a misunderstanding. Why don't we each withdraw and let our governments sort this out?" Zixthara considered the proposal. It was reasonable, perhaps even wise. But at that moment, her sensors detected something that changed everything. The human ship was powering up its weapons systems, the energy signatures unmistakable. "The humans are preparing to fire," she reported to her ship's AI. "Evasive maneuvers authorized. Weapons free." Elena saw the alien ship suddenly accelerate and change course. "They're moving to attack position. Jake, evasive maneuvers." The Shadow Blade was faster and more maneuverable than the Resilience. Zixthara used her ship's advantages, coming around in a tight arc that brought her weapons to bear on the human vessel's flank. Her targeting computer locked onto the patrol ship's engine section. "Warning shot," she decided. "Show them, I mean." Business. The plasma bolt streaked across space, a brilliant blue-white line that passed just meters from the Resilience's hull. The near miss was clearly intentional, a demonstration of superior marksmanship. That was a warning shot, Elena realized. They could have hit us easily, but Jake was already reacting to what he perceived as an attack, returning fire. The Resilience's particle beam lanced out toward the alien ship, but Zixthara was already moving. The beam passed harmlessly through the space she had occupied moments before. they're firing back, Zixthera reported to her command structure, engaging hostile vessel. What followed was a brief but intense battle. The Shadow Blade was more advanced, but the Resilience had heavier armor and weapons. Zixthera used her ship's speed and agility to stay ahead of the human weapons, while Alina tried to use her superior firepower to end the fight quickly. The turning point came when Zixthera managed to slip behind the human ship and target its main drive systems. Her plasma cannons found their mark, and explosions rippled along the Resilience's hull. Direct hit on their engines, Zixthera reported. They're losing power. Alina felt her ship shudder as the engines went offline. Damn it, Jake. Can you get us back online? I'm trying, Captain, but they hit us hard. Main drive is down, backup power only. The Resilience began to drift, its systems failing one by one. Alina watched helplessly as the alien ship circled them like a shark. They're hailing us, Jake reported. Put them through. Human vessel, you are defeated. Surrender now, and you will be treated according to the laws of war. Alina looked around her damaged bridge. Her crew was professional, but she could see the fear in their eyes. They were far from home, facing an unknown enemy with superior technology. We're not surrendering, she said finally, but we're also not continuing this fight. We're going to make emergency repairs and leave this system. Zixthera was surprised by the humans' response. Most species either surrendered immediately or fought to the death. This captain was proposing a third option. You are in no position to make demands, she replied. It's not a demand. It's a statement of fact. You've won this engagement, but if you want to finish us off, you'll have to destroy a crippled ship. Is that how Vorthan warriors win their victories? The challenge stung Zixthera's pride. Her people valued honor in combat, and destroying a helpless enemy would bring no glory. You have 1 hour to make repairs and leave this system, she said finally. After that, I cannot guarantee your safety. Alina knew it was the best deal she was going to get. Understood, we'll be gone within the hour. But as Jake worked frantically to restore power, the wounded Resilience began to list toward the nearby moon. The artificial gravity was failing, and without main power, they couldn't break free of the moon's gravitational pull. Captain, we're going down, Jake reported grimly. I can't get enough power to break orbit. Alina watched the moon's surface rushing up to meet them. Then we're going to have to ride it down. Emergency crash protocols. Zixthera watched in surprise as the human ship began its uncontrolled descent. She had not intended to destroy them, merely to disable their vessel. But now they were crashing on the moon below, and honor demanded that she verify their fate. Following them down, she decided, adjusting her course to match their trajectory. The Shadow Blade descended through the moon's thin atmosphere, its sensors tracking the human ship's crash site. What Zixthera saw on her screens made her realize that this situation was far more complicated than a simple territorial dispute. The moon's surface was covered with the ruins of an ancient civilization, massive structures that defied easy explanation. And something was moving among those ruins, something that registered on her sensors as definitely alive and definitely hostile. As both ships crashed into the alien landscape, Alina and Zixthera were about to discover that they had bigger problems than their species' territorial disputes. The moon held secrets that would test both their survival skills and their preconceptions about their enemies. The stage was set for an encounter that would change everything both captains thought they knew about the universe and their place in it. *The Alliance, the Crash landing left Alina Vasquez bruised and disoriented. Emergency lighting cast eerie shadows throughout the Resilience's damaged bridge as she struggled to assess the situation. The smell of burning circuitry filled the air, and she could hear the ominous creaking of stressed metal throughout the ship. "Jake, status report," she called out. Pulling herself up from where she had been thrown against the navigation console, Lieutenant Morrison emerged from beneath his workstation, a cut on his forehead bleeding freely. "We're alive, which is more than I expected. Hull breach in sections 4 and 7, but the emergency bulkheads are holding. Main power is offline, but we've got emergency systems running." Alina moved to the tactical display, which flickered weakly with backup power. "What about the alien ship?" "Sensors are damaged, but I'm picking up wreckage about 2 kilometers northeast of our position. Looks like they didn't fare much better than we did." Through the cracked viewport, Alina could see the alien landscape stretching before them. The moon's surface was unlike anything in their databases, covered with towering spires and geometric structures that clearly showed signs of advanced engineering. But these buildings were ancient, weathered by countless years of exposure to the elements. "My God, Jake, look at this place." Morrison joined her at the viewport, his eyes widening as he took in the sight. "It's a city, an entire civilization. But it looks ... abandoned." Alina activated her personal scanner, trying to get readings on the atmosphere outside. Air is breathable, though a bit thin. Gravity is about 70% of Earth normal. We can survive out there, but we'll need to be careful. What they couldn't see from their position was that they were being watched. Zixthera had survived the crash of the Shadow Blade and was now perched on a rocky outcropping, using her enhanced vision to observe the human crash site. Her ship was badly damaged, but her personal equipment was intact. She studied the humans through her tactical scope, watching as they prepared to leave their vessel. Her initial mission to observe and report had become something much more complex. She was stranded on an unknown moon with the very enemies she had been sent to spy on. Resourceful species, she admitted to herself as she watched the humans check their equipment with military precision, but still primitive compared to Vorthan technology. Zixthera activated her personal communicator, trying to raise her fleet command. Only static answered her calls. The moon's unusual mineral composition was interfering with long-range communications, leaving her as isolated as the humans. Alina and Jake emerged from the Resilience, wearing emergency environment suits. The ancient city stretched before them, its alien architecture both beautiful and ominous. Towers spiraled impossibly high into the thin atmosphere, while bridges connected structures in defiance of conventional engineering principles. "Captain, I'm reading energy signatures from several locations," Jake reported, consulting his scanner. "This place isn't as dead as it looks." "Could be automated systems," Alina suggested. "OR." Her words were cut off by a low, rumbling sound that seemed to come from the ground itself. Both humans froze, their hands moving instinctively to their sidearms. "That didn't sound mechanical," Jake whispered. From her vantage point, Zixthera saw what the humans couldn't. Something was moving in the shadows between the ancient buildings, something large and predatory. Her enhanced vision picked up the heat signature of multiple creatures, all converging on the crash site. For a moment, she hesitated. Her duty was to her own people, not to these human invaders. But her warrior's code demanded that she not allow helpless enemies to be slaughtered by beasts. "Honor before convenience," she murmured, a traditional Vorthan saying. Alina heard the plasma rifle's distinctive whine before she saw the blue bolt streak past her head. The energy beam struck something behind her, and she spun around to see a nightmare creature writhing in its death throes. The thing was easily 3 meters long, with multiple limbs and a mouth full of razor-sharp teeth. "Ambush, Predator," Jake breathed, raising his particle pistol. "Don't shoot," came a voice from above them. Alina looked up to see the alien pilot, rappelling down from the rocks, her strange weapon still smoking from the shot that had saved their lives. Zixtara landed gracefully despite the lower gravity, her 4 arms moving with practiced efficiency as she reloaded her weapon. "There are more of them. We need to find shelter." Elena's military training ward with her natural caution. This alien had just shot down her ship, but she had also just saved their lives. "Why should we trust you?" "Because," Zixtara replied, her translator rendering her words in accented but understandable English. "We are all prey here, and predators hunt in packs." As if to emphasize her point, more of the creatures emerged from the shadows. They moved with a strange skittering gait that was both fast and silent. Alina counted at least 6 of them, all circling the small group with obvious intelligence. The tall building Zixtara pointed with one of her arms. "It has defensive positions." Alina made a command decision. "Move, Jake, cover our 6. The 3 unlikely allies ran toward the ancient structure, the predators pursuing them with increasing aggression. Zixtara's plasma rifle barked repeatedly, each shot finding its mark with deadly accuracy. Jake's particle pistol added its own deadly notes to the symphony of combat. Alina found herself impressed by the alien's combat skills. Zixtara moved with a fluid grace that made her seem to dance through the battlefield, her multiple arms allowing her to reload and fire with mechanical precision. They reached the building's entrance just as the pack closed in. The door was a massive circular portal that responded to their presence, grinding open with ancient mechanisms. Inside, they found themselves in a vast chamber filled with technology that was clearly far more advanced than either human or Vorthan science. "Fascinating," Zixtara breathed, her eyes taking in the alien architecture. This civilization was incredibly advanced. Jake was scanning the room with his equipment. "These energy readings are off the charts. Some of this stuff is still active after who knows how many years." Alina posted herself at the doorway, watching for pursuit. "We need to find a way to seal this entrance. Those things will be back." Zixtara studied the door controls, her enhanced vision allowing her to see patterns in the alien symbols. "I believe I can activate the security systems. But we should explore first. There may be information here that could help us escape this moon." Over the next several hours, the 3 survivors worked together to explore the ancient facility. They discovered that the moon had once been home to a species called the Architects, beings who had built incredible technological marvels before vanishing mysteriously. The predators they had encountered were apparently the descendants of the Architects' biological experiments, creatures designed to guard the facilities. Alina found herself working closely with Zixtara, and she was surprised by how much they had in common. Both were military officers, both had been trained to think tactically, and both had a natural curiosity about the universe around them. "Your species?" Alina asked during a brief rest period. "How long have you been spacefaring?" "Approximately 2,000 of your years," Zixtara replied. "We achieved faster-than-light travel through necessity. Our homeworld was dying, and we needed to find new resources. So you're explorers, like us. We are survivors. There is a difference." Jake had been working on the alien technology, his engineering background helping him understand the basic principles, even if the specific applications were beyond him. "Captain, I think I've found something. This looks like a communications array, but it's using quantum entanglement principles that are centuries ahead of our technology." Alina joined him at the console. "Can you make it work?" "I think so, but it'll require combining our technology with theirs, and we'll need power from both ships." Zixthera approached the console, studying the symbols with her enhanced vision. "I may be able to provide the power coupling from my ship, but cooperation will be required." Alina realized that their survival now depended on working together. "What do you propose? A temporary alliance? We pool our resources, repair what we can, and find a way off this moon. Once we're safe, we return to our respective fleets and report what we've learned." "And then," Alina asked, "then our governments decide whether we're enemies or allies." Jake looked up from his work. "Captain, I've been thinking about this territorial dispute. If there are ancient ruins like this throughout the sector, maybe the real question isn't who owns the territory, but what we can learn from it." Alina nodded slowly. "You're right. This changes everything." Over the following days, the three survivors worked together to not only repair their ships, but also to document the incredible discoveries they were making. They learned that the architects had been part of a vast galactic civilization, one that had faced and overcome many of the same challenges that humans and Vorthans were now encountering. Zixthara proved to be an invaluable ally. Her people's natural technical abilities complemented human ingenuity perfectly. She showed Alina and Jake how to use Vorthan energy manipulation techniques to power the ancient systems, while they taught her human problem-solving approaches that helped unlock the architect's secrets. "Your species thinks differently than mine," Zixthara observed one evening as they worked on the communication array. "Vorthans plan extensively before acting. Humans seem to improvise solutions as they go." Alina smiled. "We call it adaptive thinking. Sometimes the best solutions come from unexpected approaches, perhaps, but your willingness to take risks also leads to conflicts like our encounter." "Fair point, but it also led to this alliance." Jake had been monitoring the communication array, and suddenly his console lit up with activity. "Captain, I'm getting something. It's a message, but it's old, really old." The holographic display activated, showing the image of an alien being unlike either human or Vorthan. The creature was tall and graceful, with features that suggested great intelligence and wisdom. "We are the architects," the message began. "The translation systems working to render the ancient language. If you are receiving this message, then our civilization has likely passed into history. We leave this knowledge for those who come after, in the hope that they will learn from our mistakes." The message continued, revealing that the architects had faced a crisis that threatened their entire species. They had been forced to choose between expansion and cooperation, between dominance and partnership. Their choice had ultimately led to their transcendence to a higher plane of existence, but they had left behind these facilities as a test for younger species. "The path forward," the message concluded, "lies not in conquest, but in understanding. Those who can put aside their differences and work together will inherit the stars. Those who cannot will join us in the silence of eternity." Alina, Jake, and Zixthera sat in stunned silence as the message ended. The implications were staggering. The entire territorial dispute that had led to their conflict was part of a larger test, one that would determine the future of both their species. "This changes everything," Alina said finally. "We're not just fighting over territory, were being tested. Sixthera nodded slowly, and we have already begun to pass that test. We chose cooperation over conflict when survival was at stake. Jake was already working on the communication array with renewed purpose. If I can boost the signal using both ships' power cores, we might be able to contact both fleets simultaneously. We could share this discovery with everyone. The repair work took another 2 days, but finally their combined efforts paid off. The ancient communication array came online, its quantum entanglement systems reaching across vast distances to contact both human and Vorthan fleets. Alina found herself in the unprecedented position of conducting first contact negotiations, not as enemies, but as allies. The discovery of the Architect's message had profound implications for both species, and she was determined to make sure that the lessons learned on this moon would not be forgotten. When the rescue ships arrived, they found something remarkable. A human patrol captain and a Vorthan scout pilot standing together, surrounded by the greatest archaeological discovery in galactic history. The territorial dispute that had brought them into conflict had become the foundation for a new alliance between their peoples. Alina looked at Zixthera as their respective rescue teams approached. "So what happens now?" "Now," the Vorthan replied, "we return to our people and show them what we have learned. That enemies can become allies when they share a common purpose. And if they don't listen," Zixthera's mandibles clicked in what Alina had learned was the equivalent of a smile. "Then we remind them that the universe is vast and there are greater things to discover than new ways to fight." As the rescue ships departed the moon, carrying both crews and the invaluable data they had discovered, Alina realized that this mission had changed more than just first contact protocols. It had proven that humans and aliens could work together, that different species could find common ground even in the most unlikely circumstances. The territorial dispute that had started their conflict became the foundation for a new era of cooperation. And in the depths of space, other ancient ruins waited to be discovered, each one another opportunity for the growing alliance between humans and Vorthans to prove that the Architect's test could be passed. The stars themselves seemed brighter as the two fleets departed together, no longer enemies, but partners in the greatest adventure of all, the exploration of the infinite universe that surrounded them all.